Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
What is up, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Weekly Roundup. I'm your host, Jake Friel. Along by me is Steve Reichel. Unfortunately, Ralph Delvecchio is not in today. He's a little under the weather, so filling in his place, we have Greg Milakovic. Greg, how we doing?
What's up, boys? How are we?
Good. Got a lot to talk about today. Going to be talking about if the Sixers can get back on track this season. Going to be giving our NFL Combine Standouts. How far can the red-hot Philadelphia Flyers get this season? I think pretty far, and I think a lot of people do as well. Also going to be giving our boxing and UFC review of 4-fight week last week. Steve's excited.
I'm always excited when we talk about fighting, man. Come on. We're Philadelphians.
Yeah. First things first, let's get off into the poll question brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, Burlington, Princeton locations. If you got any aches and pains, obviously if you're playing baseball or any other sport, got any aches and pains, call the doc. Let them know A2D sent you. The Sixers season is salvageable. Agree or disagree?
I mean, they'll make the playoffs, but, I mean, how are the expectations? Because, I mean, we came into this season, it was NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of pundits had us there. You know, we all know where Sir Charles was sitting with us with his expectations and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a flaming hot mess.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we love our teams, let's be honest. And, you know, this is some of the reasons why players love playing here and some hate playing here, because, you know, this is the worst time you want to be a Sixer, because you're going to be getting it from all of us. You're going to be getting it from the fans. You're going to be getting it from the media. You're going to be getting it from your coaches. You're going to be getting it from everyone in your building. It's not a fun time to be a Sixer.
No, it's not.
And it shouldn't be.
Mm-mm.
It should not be. You know, you have, you know, Greg Robinson comes in here and gets traded here, and you don't know your role. Listen, it's not really hard. As much as, you know, I've sat here and I've already said that I think Brett is probably one of the problems. But if you don't know what your role is, why you were brought in here, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Get open, hit shots, hit threes, make points off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we want anywhere from 10 to 18 points from you.
Yeah.
That's your job. That's your role. You know, give us a little defense too off it wouldn't hurt either.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
On the other side of that, you know, everything else is bad. Tobias Harris is hot, cold, Mr. You know, he's
okay. He's not great, but he's.
I mean, you understand why he moves around the way he did now.
Yeah.
You know, you always want to, you know, why did he go from Detroit to you know, this team?
The Magic to.
Now we know why.
Oh, yeah.
It's because, you know, he disappears.
Yeah.
And
I won't say he's as bad as like a journeyman player, but
no,
he's
not. He's
up. He's like basically
but
right above that.
But he has those games that warrants the contract he got.
Right.
And that's the problem. And you can't do that here. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take weeks off. You can't take games off.
Mm-hmm.
When called upon, when Joel went down, him and Al Horford, shrunk up like freaking snails, and you give him some salt.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
You can't have that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you hear them sitting there, the guys on the team sitting there saying that the biggest thing they have to fix is the team's heart.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what you have to fix,
then it's already.
Then what's salvaged?
Yeah.
What's the salvage?
Yeah.
Where we're at right now, what's the salvage?
Yeah, nothing. There's nothing really. Because we have Ben Simmons probably out for theoretically, like a month? I think me and Greg are on the same page. We both think he's done for at least the rest of the regular season anyway.
Yeah, I think at this point you might as well just shut it down no matter what.
Joel, I think he's out for at least another week or two because they gave him that week to kind of get healthy. Then I can guarantee you'll hear that week evaluation.
At this point in time, guys, I think we should be looking at a 6 or 7 seed and possibly a first round out, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
what to
I think so
man.
too.
Not the way they're playing on the road. They haven't been able to turn that around, and I don't expect them to turn that around.
I don't either.
You're not getting consistency from anywhere, from your coaching, from your players. The only thing that's been consistency is madness.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the real question. Honestly, I mean, and me and my other buddy, we said it last year. The Tobias Harris, Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, that team last year, it was much better than the team this year.
Yeah, because Jimmy was the guy you could lean on to when you needed somebody to come up with buckets and well, as much as it pains me to say this, Tobias Harris should have let him walk and found the way to make Jimmy work.
Yeah, I agree.
Regardless of if that meant that Ben Simmons wasn't going to be your guard,
right,
and you used him as your small forward or whatever, then that should have been it. You should have found your way to keep Jimmy here. I think this city would have been fine if Tobias Harris would have walked.
Oh, I know I would have been fine. But I'm also one of the biggest anti-Tobias Harris people ever. But I think
didn't love the Toby and Bobby show. Come on.
I mean, man. I like that, but it's other than that, I didn't really care for Tobias Harris. I was never a big Tobias Harris fan. But again, I think another thing, too, that people aren't talking about, just the absence of Jimmy. Jimmy got something out of these guys last year that Brett Brown just couldn't.
Yeah, he was another guy that he was not just a coach. He's just a guy that lights a fire under people.
Yeah.
Like JoJo has that in him, but he's also your laid-back guy. And normally when you get that fire out of Joe, it's on the court.
Right.
With his opponents. His opponents kind of get that energy going for him.
Yeah.
Jimmy's one of those guys that when his guys aren't doing what he's the instigator to the point that lights the fire within.
Yeah.
And that's what some of that stuff you heard from Brett last year, he's the man in the room and all that stuff.
Right.
That's some of that stuff that he was talking about. He commands a certain amount of accountability from his teammates. And you've seen it everywhere he's gone.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that.
I don't either. I don't. I never had a problem
he
with
may
it.
buck against it and say some listen. At the end of the day,
he's a
Jimmy
competitor,
and guy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll always be a Jimmy guy. I know Greg's not.
But the flip side of that is, what has Jimmy ever won?
Yeah.
Everywhere he's been an issue.
All right. But last year was the first time he was around a team where he could have done something.
Carl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins aren't talented.
Okay, Andrew Wiggins is a flat-out bust.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying he's had talent around him for a while.
But
those Bulls teams that he was on were really good.
Yeah, but they also were missing a piece. They didn't have.
So it's never Jimmy's fault. It's always everybody else's.
He's not the guy that's going to. He's not.
The Sixers,
who he thinks he is.
The Sixers got to the same spot they did without Jimmy Butler that they did with Jimmy Butler. Lost in the second round. And if you want to go any further, Jimmy Butler had 3 possessions in a row with a shot clock violation with him holding the ball. So everyone wants to blow Jimmy Butler, and I'm not a big Jimmy Butler guy, but I'm also a realist too.
Right.
Jimmy Butler did bring a difference to that team last year, but they got to the same spot. I can go and find Jimmy Butler in the mid-first round all day long.
All right, but here's my thing.
Jimmy Butler's not a game changer.
Jimmy does have his faults, but if you look at that playoff run, it's not all on Jimmy's
I'm not saying it was.
But he does come up small in some of those spots where he thinks he's the elite guy, where he commands the ball, the respect, everything. You're absolutely right about that. And in the other sense is where you say I think it's a little bit different. I don't think you could find because it's the other thing about Jimmy is why this city feels the way that it is. That those guys in that locker room feel the way they do about him. Not to sit there and say that he didn't cost us some things, because he did. And you're also starting to see it more this year with some of the little mouthy stuff. You're sitting there seeing the back and forth and stuff like that. That's some of the stuff that got him out of places. And then in the long run, that's why he's not here.
Yeah.
And let's be real about that. And Brett saw that and saw how that was going to play out. And
well, him and Brett just didn't get along either.
There's also a reason Jimmy Butler costs less to get than Tobias Harris. Because so many teams are trying to get rid of Jimmy Butler. Mm-hmm. Right? When Jimmy Butler first signed with Miami, no one thought Miami was going to be any good. They're getting a lot of great seasons out of a lot of nobodies outside of Jimmy Butler. Everyone thought Jimmy Butler, they were going to be the 8th seed.
He gets things out of people.
But he didn't get anything out of Ben and Joel that we hadn't already seen.
But that's also
because they're a level above him, talent-wise. Mm-hmm. They're better than Jimmy Butler. They all play different positions, so it's tough to compare that, right?
Right.
The only thing that Jimmy has over those two guys is that alpha mentality that he wants to be a killer. He wants to be a dog.
Right.
He's just the only thing he's able to do is be a dog.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's not skilled enough overall.
He doesn't do anything,
especially with a shot.
Right.
Right, an outside shot specifically to be a flat-out killer. Mm-hmm. He can make shots. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing. I don't want to keep dwelling on Jimmy too much to the fact that what's left of this team to get into here. Listen, I've seen fans tank the rest of the year and get a. What is that going to do? Right. A mid what 10 maybe 10, 15?
Yeah, something like that.
That's not going to do anything for this team.
No. You
need to fix whatever is wrong internally in that locker room, whatever it is. If that means either Ben or Joe, I still think that works. I honestly do. It's just you have to do something to change the way it's run, and we're sitting there saying, well, it can't be the guy upstairs,
right? So
then it has to be the guy next to him in the room with him at all times, And I love Brett. It's just one of these things where it's kind of. It's had its wear. Even the people who are loyal to him are starting to see kind of where everyone was complaining about a few years ago with him. Mm-hmm. And I've said it here before that I think he kind of plays to what Ben wants, and it kind of irritates Joe, and that's where you're starting to get where people say there's a thing between them. Where I don't think it's between them. I think it's between the way the coach utilizes them and is. The system that he has in place is just puts it in a way where he has to tweak things because the way they play you can't, and the way that Brett wants it played, it's conflicting.
Well, there's also a thing too that I look at it is where if we're talking just specifically Brett and Ben, because Brett's known Ben since he was a baby, so I think there's some sort
diapers,
of yeah. So that in a way I think also is a detriment to Brett as well as
it's both
Ben.
of them. It's a detriment to both of them.
But at the same,
we can't continue to sit there and act like it's not anymore.
Yeah, but and at the same time too, like I'm not going to say this is like one of the issues, but I feel like this might be like a slight issue. The fact that Brett was here during our shit tank years, and the fact that he's here. Still here, you know what I mean? There's still that, like, losing.
He was, in my opinion, because of what he did, like, you can't ask for a coach to sit there and go through that, and then when the fruits of the process are coming to bear, listen, I don't want to hear about the process anymore. The process is done.
Right.
It's dead.
Mm-hmm.
We got what we got now. Now it's time to either make moves with that to rearrange it or do whatever it is. The process is dead and done. I don't want to hear about it no more.
Yeah, and my only issue with that, though, when you're talking about making moves, like as far
they
as
put
like,
themselves in situations.
That's what I'm saying.
Can.
Yeah, and also Colangelo screwed us too, to where we have no picks, we have no real assets. However you want to look at it, the Tobias contract's horrible. The Al Horford contract right now, you're paying a guy $103 million to come off the bench. Aside from right now, since Joel's hurt, but
yeah, but at the end of the day, you're stuck with Al.
Yeah, and you're stuck with Tobias. But and another issue with Brett too, and this will be my last Brett knock
on the Sixers
before anything. Well, it's just like there's no consistency with the lineups either. Because if you look at Brett, he always tries to switch the lineup. Oh, this doesn't work one night, switch it to something else. So there's that lack of consistency too, which also really hurts this team. So, and hence why I think it goes to a lot of them struggling on the road as well because you don't have that lineup familiarity, if that makes sense.
It's different in basketball, though. You don't need that. I understand what you're saying, right? It's not like baseball. It's not like football. These other sports, because it's so much different because it's so free flowing.
Right.
If it's not working, I'm just going to get you out of the game, or you should get you out of the game.
Right.
Okay,
right?
but here's the thing: like when it wasn't working against Cleveland, why is Korkmaz only playing 7.5 minutes?
Because he was 4 for 12.
Yeah.
Okay, but he's still the only guy who's consistently shooting shots at this point in time and dropping them.
I don't have an answer for that because I was wondering the same thing. But when you look at the stats, he's 4 for 12 in however many minutes, then obviously it's not working. You know what I mean? And then you have guys that you should making $300 million that should be able to carry that load. Obviously, that's more on them than it is on Korkmaz.
Yeah.
And then you got guys like Trey Burke who just isn't working here.
Because he's not good.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah, but like you bring him in here as a guy who's supposed to be coming off and giving you production off the bench, and then he's barely seen the floor.
He's a liability defensively, and if this team is built defensively, what do you want?
Then why'd you sign him?
That goes to the whole reason of whose issue this is,
right?
And that's Elton Brand would have sided Brett Brown.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Brett Brown's fingerprints were on whatever Elton did.
Oh yeah. Because right now it just looks like you got Al Horford out of Boston just so you didn't have to deal with Al Horford.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, you know what? If
Horford out of Boston right now is just looking like something that.
That's what I said it a few weeks ago. Right?
I just. Celtics got us again. That's the only way That's the only way you can look at it. The Celtics got us again.
Because we have a bunch of incompetent guys running this organization.
Is winning a championship nice? Teams as far as ticket sales with the Sixers.
Yeah,
I think
I
in the
would think
league
so,
for
yeah.
the past
I mean,
couple
yeah,
years.
I think the last two seasons have been sellouts.
Yeah, I think there's a wait list now for season tickets.
Oh no, that's a lengthy one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
no, because I remember beginning. I used to get like cold calls from like ticket execs from them, and they would call me constantly.
You pay for upfront parking. They wanted more upfront than it would cost to buy it cash at the gate. Oh. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Thanks, see ya.
Yeah, no thanks.
A lot of these organizations do that just so they come up with it somehow.
It's just extra money, yeah.
Whatever, I'll just let them freaking
charge
me the.
And the thing that bothers me, and I know it bothers Sixers fans as a whole, it's just like another thing. It's like, oh well, have to wait till next year.
But it's been listen, this is what I said. Like Philadelphia's biggest problem over the last 20 years hasn't even been the players that they've put on the court, field, etc. It's the executives in the freaking offices making these decisions that put these teams in terrible situations.
Right.
The only team right now that has something worthwhile to talk about that's coming up is what we're about to talk about in the Flyers.
Yeah. The Flyers are red hot.
You know, the Eagles sold a lot of stuff away to get to put themselves in situations, and they're in a bad spot. And thankfully, that the CBA's up, and they may have a little bit more room to make moves now because of getting a higher salary cap for this season.
Yeah,
the Sixers are in a bad situation because of front office decisions. You know, we are. You know, the Phillies. You already know how we feel about the front office of the Phillies.
Yeah, because the owner doesn't want to pay the luxury tax. But again,
we made promises and now we don't want to give it up. Stop it, guys. Seriously.
I don't want to spend my $1 billion.
But here's the thing: the Phillies, like, listen, you have a product where you make so much money. Like, listen, you get an entire summer. And then not only that, you get a portion into fall. You get further into fall if you're good enough.
Yeah.
And this city eats it up.
Oh, absolutely. City loves their baseball.
Like, listen, like baseball is probably one of the weaning sports in North America as we talk about it, but it's kept alive because of the atmosphere it brings, and like, listen, like, you know, football brings out a different type of people, but baseball is something that everyone can enjoy, and you know, baseball took a hit with the whole thing with the Astros this year, but I'm sure.
In my opinion, I think it's bringing a lot of people actually paying more attention to baseball this year because everyone's going to be focusing.
Actually,
on the Astros.
I want to ask you about
baseball's going nowhere.
No,
going
no, it's
nowhere.
definitely not.
It's not going anywhere. You know, I think they are where they're at popularity wise. There's nowhere really for them to kind of really grow anymore. I do think it's interesting what's coming up with them not going to be suspending baseball players for marijuana. But if you are deemed under the influence, you're going to be, kind of questioned, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But it's starting where where some of these sports are starting to come into realization of some of these things. And, over the top 4 sports, you're starting to see that.
Right.
Thankfully.
Yeah. And that's just the way it's all going to go. It's going to become legal everywhere. But staying on the topic of GMs and adding pieces, NFL Combine.
Well, hold on. Let me go back to something earlier.
All right.
So the process is dead in your mind? How is that?
It's done. There's no more to process, too. The tanky part's done. They've got their pieces. Now, where are you proceeding to?
The process isn't over until Ben and Joel and whatever we get for them, if that ever gets there. Until that door closes, that's when the process ends. I agree with you that tanking essentially is over.
Well, no,
But as long as Joel and Ben or pieces we get from those two are a part of this team, the process still lives on because
but we're still in the part like what I'm saying is the process needs to be dead. Like, all right, listen, we've got to that point. Where's the next part? Like, all right, where's our next?
Well, yeah, the next part is getting over the hump,
and it may be breaking up the process.
and then that process then still continues because
Through whoever's left.
whoever left.
Yeah.
I know.
You know what I mean? Because you extend that window. Just hypothetically, we talked about it. Jake and I talked about it a couple weeks ago.
But here's
Hypothetically, you send Joel to Phoenix for Ayton and Booker. You get younger essentially too.
Yeah.
Then that means the process
it
not
really
is not
sucks in
ending.
my eyes. But if because I love Joe and I love that fire he brings, but the health thing has to weigh on our minds. And I think if it doesn't happen this year, that what you proposed should happen.
Well, first you're first going to see is a new head coach.
Yeah.
That's happening this year. It's evident right now.
Yeah.
I would have done it at the trade deadline, but instead they went and made trades. So you're
No
not
trades.
No, they made
Essentially.
trades. They made trades.
It was no trades.
What were they giving up though?
Yeah.
You had nothing to give up.
Yeah.
Give up your pick.
What's a 25th round, first round pick going to get you?
In
I'd
the
rather
NBA,
give up
nothing,
seconds
yeah.
for what we did.
Yeah.
You weren't getting any talent. You need talent to get talent.
Oh, you were talking about Wiggins. Bring him in here, right?
I'll take him.
But that's then give it up.
I'll take Wiggins, Parker. We'll take all top 3 from that draft. Wiggins was already traded by that point. But so you weren't making that move at the deadline because you made the trade. So now you're going to see this out. Obviously now with Joel and Ben out, we know what that's going to entail.
Yeah.
And if we would have lost to the Knicks, I was on that board of not winning another game for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Just tank, yeah.
Because if you get a 6 seed, you're going to see Boston. We match up well with Boston in the playoffs.
I like us in a series with Boston.
If we get Joel and Ben back.
Yeah.
But they're not.
If you get a 7 seed,
is,
you see the Toronto Raptors. I don't want that. If we're not getting home court,
then
you got to end up in the 6 seed.
Yeah, I agree.
they put themselves here.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they absolutely did.
And the NBA did too, because the
Yeah.
NBA fleeced us with Colangelo.
Yeah.
The NBA gave us Ben Simmons because Hinkie left, and put a rat bastard in our organization run by the NBA in Brian Colangelo, who then sold off everything we had, didn't get anything for Nerlens Noel, didn't get anything for Jahlil Okafor, got fleeced by Boston for Markelle Fultz when we could have Jason. Can you imagine
If we had Jason Tatum,
those
exactly.
3 together right now?
Sickness.
We're all streaking down Broad Street waiting for the parade.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's sickness.
And that's all thanks to the NBA and Brian Colangelo,
Yeah.
who were working hand in hand.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
the only reason that the Sixers got punished was because Hinkie was flat out honest and said, we're not trying to win.
Yeah.
But during that whole time, the Nets stunk, the T-Wolves stunk, the Warriors stunk.
The Knicks suck.
The Knicks always stink.
Yeah.
But the problem is they never admit it, so everyone's like,
Right.
oh, well, they're trying to win.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's where we are right now because of the NBA
If they're
and
trying
Brian
to win so
Colangelo.
hard, their owner wouldn't be getting harassed by their freaking fans. But hey, what do we know?
And they wouldn't be hiring an agent as an owner or
Yeah.
a GM.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Greg breaking out the Skittles.
To be a freaking Philadelphia fan and have to sit there through this freaking nonsense.
Joel to the Knicks rumor starting very soon.
Probably.
That's
That's
his
his
agent.
and it literally kills me
Oh, really?
because
That's his
Joe's the one I really like.
Oh, you're right. Oh,
He's actually a Jersey guy. He's a Cherry Hill kid.
Oh, okay.
Leon Rose.
I mean, it's not that far of a ride either. So, I mean, wow. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
It really does sicken me that they just couldn't put this together. I don't know what else to say about it.
I don't know. I know Greg's over there happy eating Skittles, so he's all good.
Well, I guess it's time to the orange and black, right, brother?
No, not yet. Got to talk a little Combine first. And then get into a little orange and black. Then we'll get into the orange and black.
Oh, man. So who's the one who stood out so far? I mean, I'm not even talking just out of so far the last 2 days.
I mean, obviously, would he call it Henry Ruggs? Was no surprise for anybody.
I mean, we knew he was gonna he had the speed and
he had the
know,
speed and
and
whatever.
all that. Like
as crazy as
the kid from LSU, Jefferson. He had a day.
As crazy as it sounds,
he had a day.
And I'm a big Justin Jefferson guy. I did not expect him to run as well as he did, or even do necessarily as well.
But see, that's why the thing I don't think it's so necessary that okay, Ruggs had that amazing run and all that, and he's definitely going to be going within the top freaking 7 picks or so.
Yeah.
So maybe just because Jefferson is still there, just let it happen.
Either Justin Jefferson or I was hearing rumors too that the Eagles might be willing to also trade up.
I know, and that's what I was saying. Don't give up too much, please. I know you got 10 picks. I know.
Well, I know the Steelers last year they didn't give up much, going from it was 20 something to I think 10. I don't think they gave up that. They didn't. Yeah, I don't think they gave up that much.
But see, and then we're going crazy with all these wide receivers, but I brought off draft day last week. We need a day like that.
Yeah,
we need a day like that. I think it's one of those things where maybe you see if you can get one of your second and thirds to get you back into the first.
Well, there's a theory that I have too, and I don't think it's going to happen. But Malcolm Jenkins has 1 year left on his contract, right?
I thought he's free to go.
No, he has 1 year left on his contract. He said he refuses to play under his current contract unless the Eagles restructure his contract. So what I'm thinking is, if Howie's not willing to pay him.
Yeah, because there's a thing, I think he was on 94.1 and kind of said that, he wants what's best for him. We're going to do what's best for us type of thing. So that's also kind of cryptic too. And I listen, you need somebody on that defense.
Yeah.
If you get rid of Malcolm Jenkins, you're going to have
a solid replacement.
And I'm not talking, and there's no one out there free agency or anything like that. But the Jets are also looking to move
I will
things
take
around.
Jamal Adams in a
You already
second.
know where I'm going with this. Let's do a swap with that and
take
some picks and stuff like that. Let's make that happen.
I'll take Jamal Adams in a second. There's no doubt.
I don't think that they would ever do it.
I don't think so either. But again, it wouldn't shock me because it's the Jets. But who knows?
Listen, as much as we want them to be that stupid, I don't think they would be.
No.
But it's one of these things where you have to think of I don't think you're going to be able to do a swap like that ever, just because I don't think they're ever that stupid.
No.
It's something different.
Again, we also got a first-round pick for
especially
Sam
now that
Bradford
an old Eagles guy's there. He's not going to give us a break.
No.
Yeah. Douglas ain't he's really? Come on, guys.
It was
and I'm going to have to pay him too to want him to play here, so it's kind of a dope. But see, the other thing is the Eagles are in another situation, and that's going to get even tougher with the fact that Ertz's contract is up at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And is going to demand the highest paid contract a tight end has ever gotten because of his play on the field the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, but he's also not that type of guy either, to where he's not going to play.
But here's the thing.
He'll get a nice contract. There's no doubt about it, but I don't think
also,
he's
here's
demand
the thing:
top-tier
his
money.
value couldn't be higher right now.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
You have not a valid replacement, a guy who could be a Pro Bowl replacement.
You have a solid replacement. Yeah.
So
I hear you.
As much as and
but I just don't see them getting rid of Carson's guy. I just don't.
Not if you use Zach Ertz to get you that Ruggs.
Either Ruggs or what do you call it? CD Lamb
where you
actually
keep your pick at 21.
Right.
You give them Ertz a mid, second, third rounder
Right.
to move up to go get him. It's crazy. I've been thinking a lot about some of the stuff because you've been hearing some stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
People coming up with stuff. It's where something could happen. They have to make things to kind of make things happen right now. Howie's one of these guys to do it. It would blow this city up because he was not just Carson's guy, but he was just so valuable that game, that run,
Super Bowl run, yeah.
and what some of the values that is kind of been put into this team is through Zach Ertz.
Yeah, well, especially this offense the past 4 years.
He's pushing 30.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get any more out of him than you already have. Listen, sell.
Oof.
Sell.
Wow.
I
get it, but
I already told you, man, that I've been thinking out of the box a lot lately when it comes to just sports in general, and it's something that I think if we're looking at it from the business side of it, taking our gut feelings that we would feel about it out of it, it's something I guarantee you that's been put on the table in the war rooms.
Right.
But it's one of the things we just gotta.
They were talking about extending him at the end of the year.
Yeah.
At the end of last year, they were talks of that. So, if that's even on the table, why would they come out and say, "All right, we're looking to extend"?
No, I'm not saying
Zach,
they're
we're
saying
looking
it's
to
on their like. It's,
I mean, I don't disagree. You always listen to anything anyone's got to offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
The phone. If I'm a GM, the phone's never not being answered unless unless someone else is, unless
I
some
don't see them
random's
doing
calling,
it, but it's like
credit card companies. Then it's
Right.
no, not getting answered.
Yeah.
But if a team's calling, I'll listen.
Right.
But to you, in your thought, what number do you have to get Ruggs?
you have to be in the top 5. You have to
No,
To get
well,
Ruggs?
not in the top 5. You'd have to get in the top 15.
Ruggs is barely a
Top
top
15.
5 wide receiver in the draft.
Top
Yeah, but-
15. Well, if you're going top 5, you're getting either CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy. If you're going top 5.
But see, I don't think it has to be like Ruggs. Like I would say if you're the Eagles at this point in time, like the best wide receiver, period.
Oh no, I get what you're saying.
Like
The best wide receiver is either CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy.
Jeudy.
So if I'm trading up top 5, I'm not trading up for Ruggs.
No, I'm
and if
getting-
I'm
no,
not,
like
and if
Ruggs
I'm
is
trading,
kind of the
I'm
name
not-
everyone wants.
And if I'm trading the top 5, I'm not giving just Zach Ertz up
You have to give.
and a couple mid-rounders. My first-round pick's going with Ertz.
Yeah.
To get the top 5, you got to give up something.
Yeah.
You got to remember how we got to 2 with Carson. We traded with the Dolphins to 7, and then the 7 to 2.
Yeah.
We gave up a lot to get there.
We didn't give much to get up.
no, we
to,
got rid of a lot of junk to get there too. But yeah, we did.
Well, we gave up a lot of assets, whatever they
Yeah.
were, but you gave up assets. So, you might be able to give up Ertz in a second to get to 15,
Right.
which probably puts you in Ruggs' area. But if you're trying to get the best wide receiver on the board, you
But
got to
see-
go up to get CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, you have to.
Ruggs is different in a sense that he has production to go with his speed. I always look at the combine is
It's just more of like it's
what do you
the,
do?
some of the
what do you-
athletic intangibles things. That
what do
we
you
get to
do
look.
without pads on
Right.
that wouldn't necessarily show up on film, right? A 4.28,
That's how I look at it. Yeah.
right? But do you have the film to match what you're showing on the field? And Ruggs does, but Ruggs wasn't even the best wide receiver on his team.
No.
It was Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
Because Jerry Jeudy not as fast as Ruggs, but is more precise of a route runner, so he was more wide open as opposed to just blowing by guys because he was creating separation.
Right.
So there's run fast speed and there's play fast speed.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
see, the other thing when we're looking at some of the stuff when we're looking at the wide receivers and who we should go grab, you also have to look at like someone who's going to play well with Carson, who's going to be that works well. Like you have Deshaun there, and he's going to be there for 2 years, regardless of where we think he stays or goes. You have your small burner, but you still need. If you're getting rid of Alshon Jeffrey, you still need your guy who's 6'2", 4'5",
yeah.
whatever.
No, you're right.
So like if you have to start looking at that aspect of it too, because they still have Ward and he still can play that slot and whatever, and they're gonna have to go get it. And you may see someone in free agency, like we've been talking about the guy from the Jets. He may wind up being here when everything is said and done with free agency.
Robbie Anderson,
but
yeah.
like, listen, I think we need to stop playing around and just give guy that's gonna be playing with Carson for the next 5 years, and
Yeah.
not just that. Who's going to do propel us to where we should be. We're going to be not just making run, but in playoffs, but Super Bowl runs over the next 5 years, because this is the window now. It's now.
To me, I bet you they stay still and they go defense first round.
Oh, they'll probably
because
go corner or
because
something,
to your point,
but
though,
only if it's a. I need that linebacker.
To your
I
point,
need that.
we're not. There's no linebacker in the first round.
I know.
Except for Isaiah Simmons out of Clemson.
He's going top 10.
He's going number 7, probably to Carolina at his floor.
Yeah.
The lowest he's going is 7 because Carolina's not going to pass up on Kuechly's replacement.
No.
Exactly.
But if you're not trading up for Judy or Lamb, I'd sit there at 21 because this wide receiver draft is so deep. You don't need to trade up and over the flash of Ruggs. I like Ruggs. I was targeting Ruggs at 21.
I would stay pat and get the wide receiver at 21, but I would also entertain ideas to find a special player on defense, like you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably where they're going. We got the defense that's going to be on today.
That's what I want to
see.
see.
Defense, who is it, cornerbacks and linebackers?
No, cornerbacks is tomorrow.
Defensive linemen.
Defensive
linemen, and linebackers. We also need a defensive lineman.
Yeah,
and that's the other thing.
We missed on Derek Barnett, right? We don't have any guy that can go get the quarterback.
Right.
We got a great defensive line that can apply pressure.
And to something he made a tweet about, Malik Jackson should be trade bait.
Well, we don't know about Malik Jackson.
We don't.
What we do know, though, is you put someone next to Fletcher that demands a little bit of attention and respect, Fletcher goes off.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why would you get rid of Malik Jackson when Timmy Jernigan's walking away?
If you can get a solid replacement. I mean, no, I get
Timmy
what you're
Jernigan's
saying,
walking.
Yes,
so it's either
hobbling, but yeah.
Well, touche. But so it's going to be Fletcher Cox and Hassan Ridgeway?
Yeah, no.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
We're going to be calling for Fletcher Cox on a milk carton all year again.
Exactly. And when some of those replacements were finally getting a push, you're starting to see some of the things he could do later on in that season. Listen, I'm not sitting there saying that as the fact that he's trade bait to the fact of not replacing him. Maybe you get the guy who's going to be someone who's going to start, but also, I don't think it's too much of a thing to get a guy that in the mid to late part of that draft, first or second, to make a difference, who could start right next to him.
Yeah, but I don't think Malik Jackson's contract is that big to
where. No, but I don't think
it's
big.
You can't have a mesh, right?
Yeah.
You can't have a rollover. You can't have a 1 year when Malik is taking this guy. Because again, you're taking a guy lower, late first round or second round. Obviously, he's not a top 5 pick, right, or a top 10 pick to where he should come in starting right away. But you also remember Malik Jackson when we traded for him or signed him, we were all like, let's go.
Yes.
And unfortunately, he got hurt first play, first game, and we were just like, who knew what this defensive line could have been?
Yeah.
But what we do know is our outside stinks.
Yeah.
I like Brandon Graham, but he's old. Right? He's not getting to the quarterback as often.
No.
I need a 15 to 20 sack guy, and we don't have a pairing that can get 15 to 20 sacks. Derek Barnett stinks. Yeah. No, I mean, not stinks. I think he stinks because I never wanted him.
He's okay.
But he's not a 15 overall pick.
No.
He's a motor guy.
He's not a 15 overall pick.
He's a motor guy.
He's a moron. He can't start on sides.
Yeah. But
so today, I'd be very interested today. A.J. Spence from Iowa is an absolute monster.
Yeah.
There's a couple guys down there at the end of the first round from the DN standpoint that could just flat out get to the quarterback. What we end up doing, who knows?
Right. Yeah.
Today and tomorrow are going to be very interesting. I'd be more apt to pay attention today, tomorrow, if I'm an Eagles fan, than I was the first 2 days.
Right. I agree.
Like I said, here's the thing. We wanted to see what it was when it came to that, as far as the wide receivers, and we know it's deep, and now we know the guy that maybe that everyone wanted, maybe a little bit too far out of it. But like I said, listen, we need to make a splash and stay there at 21, but maybe also try to find a way with some of those picks to maybe get you, like you were saying, the 15 or something like that, and find a difference maker on defense. If you lose a guy and are going to have a problem with giving Malcolm what he wants, find the replacement.
Yeah.
Regardless if that's in linebacker or safety, whatever it is, you have to find the voice of your defense.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, you're going to need Malcolm's replacement because he's not getting paid.
No,
they're not paying him unless you do a front-loaded contract massive bonus, front-loaded, that's paid this year and next year, right? But then years 3, 4, 5 are option years. But in the NFL, nothing's guaranteed anyway.
Right.
So you just get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you look at – let's see here. So if you look at, like, the mocks, right? And, again, they're all just mocks, so they are what
Doesn't
they
really
are.
mean anything, yeah.
16 from CBS Sports has A.J. Spence going, the kid from Iowa. Javon Kinlaw, the D lineman, the defensive tackle from South Carolina, going 17 to the Cowboys. This is where you're going to see your run on defense, and that's why I said if you stay at 21, you take the best available player. If Ruggs happens to drop to 21. Yes, I'm all aboard.
Day,
Yeah,
but where this one's got, so then they have C.J. Henderson, the cornerback out of Florida, going 20.
And there's another need too. You forget
Corners,
about.
yeah.
They got your boy, Caleb Chasen from LSU, coming here as an edge rusher.
I'll take it.
So, I'll take an SEC D end. And then the next pick is Xavier McKinley, the safety, to your point, the safety out of Alabama. Grant Delpit from LSU, another option. I think you can get him early second round if you need to get up.
If he drops to the second round, I'd take him in a second.
There's a lot of guys late in this round where we're going to be picking, obviously, that it's going to be heavy defense.
Yeah.
Because, again, if you're missing out on those top two, everybody else, to me, in the wide receiver core is just
And
so
here's the
similar.
Other thing,
right.
And here's the other thing. You still need to address the left guard because it's a problem.
With Sayamalo.
Yeah, but I think if there's continuity, you can hide it.
A little bit.
What the issue's going to be
he
is
was a walking turnstile last season.
If the issue's going to be is if Kelsey retires.
That's going to be my issue.
But
that's
the other thing. You have to find his replacement either in this draft or next year.
He's in the left guard spot.
Yeah. Pretty much.
But remember, Sayamalo was there because Brooks went out.
Yeah.
Right? You know.
Yeah.
And the guy they put in towards the end, Matt Pryor didn't do bad.
He did pretty well.
No,
there was bigger issues in the offensive line. This front office is going offensive line at some point.
Yeah.
So that's happening. Again, it wouldn't shock me if they go offensive tackle first round because they're just that much of a bunch of morons.
But see, we have the other thing where the rumor is that Peters will be back, and unless he's playing left guard, I have a serious problem with that.
And maybe that's the case.
If he's the left guard, I'm
Let's go.
Because I'm with you with the skepticism. I'm with you with the what?
Yeah.
Did I just read that correctly? What?
Yeah.
What?
His biggest thing is that he knows he's slower now, and his problems is with the false starts. With what? Because he's trying to kick out to get in front of these guys.
Yeah.
He won't have that problem anymore, guard.
I don't disagree.
And then you're sitting, you have Andre Dillard, and you have freaking one of the best tackles of freaking Eagles history sitting next to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That offensive line should be the best in the league if that happens.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to worry about getting that. You need the wide receiver guy. Not only the guy on the outside, but the slot guy too, because we don't know what Arcega-Whiteside is or isn't.
And you can't
And
sit here.
You can't expect Greg Ward to sit there and
you
be
can't
the
sit
guy.
here and legitimately say, "Yeah, we got Greg Ward."
Right.
But here's the
with
thing:
a straight
I
face.
would like him to be on the roster. Period.
That's like a depth piece, yeah.
Not just as like I already told you what I wanted to do. Wanted them to do during the playoffs.
Oh, that Wildcat thing, yeah.
No. The jet sweep wound up using him as a throw down the field to get a big play at the Deshaun.
Yeah. But
I mean, here's the thing, man. Not only that, you still absolutely have to address the linebacker position because regardless if you like Bradham here or not, you have no one besides Gary. You have no one.
yeah.
Don't give me Camus Gerser-Hill either. I don't want to hear it. I love him. Don't want to hear it.
He'll
and
probably be back.
Your whole back end of the secondary needs some help.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
You have a lot of things to address.
Mm-hmm.
The next few days, you should see something.
Well, that's what Howie said. He's using this draft. He said he's building for 2020, 2021, 2022.
I wouldn't be surprised if we seen some of the mistakes wind up leaving like they did when Howie first came back to go get Carson. Like I wouldn't see surprise like how you don't like Bennett. He probably won't be here. Barnett rather.
Yep.
Yeah.
He probably won't be here. You'll see some of those guys wind up moving out.
Well, I'll, depending on when the CBA gets approved, Alshon won't be here either.
Depending, I hope it's not a cut. I just get something for it.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be one of those things where you're just going to have to suck up that cap hit. As much as I don't want to, but
listen, I love what
real quick. Flyers are currently, since the Penguins lost last night, second place in the Metropolitan Division. And they're scoring goals at will at this point, and there's just no signs of stopping the Flyers right now.
At least at home.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about playing in Philadelphia or in the Wells Fargo Center. What it does to them teams, but it's just something different.
Because it's special.
It always has been.
Fun.
It always has been.
That
Regardless
stadium,
if it was the Spectrum or whatever. That stadium, that area, that part of it has just been. It's something about it
for whatever team too. If it's Sixers during the Iverson errors, that place was rocking.
Yeah.
Flyers every year, because up until a couple years ago, they were in the playoffs every year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and that place was rocking. So no, you're absolutely right. That there is something special. There is something, I guess the friendly confines of playing at home in front of this fan base. Mm-hmm. It is a lot of fun.
I mean, as and a lot of these players, like, they get chills being in that arena, being in front of us as a fan base. It's just something different.
Yeah,
and it's something that not very many of our teams are able to take advantage of. And I honestly believe if we didn't have, if we weren't the number one seed the year we went into the playoffs for the Super Bowl run, we would not have won. It's being home cooking for Philadelphia is just something different,
and especially because Nick Foles is the quarterback.
Yeah,
but I'm saying you're going on the road in the playoffs with a backup. Mm-hmm. This is exactly your point. You're home, so that crowd and that fan base and this rabid fan base for playoff football,
and
playoff
the other
anything
thing about it
makes it that much different.
The Super Bowl was basically like a home game because of the way this fan base travels and all that. In that area is basically there's more Philadelphia.
And the Super Bowl is just it's an event anyway. It's not even a real game because they're both. It's a neutral. It's an event.
Neutral place. Yeah.
Everything's different. Everything's longer. Mm-hmm. Your halftime's longer.
But I think the biggest thing about the Flyers right now, it's face-offs. Their ability to get those matchups and win that. It kind of reminds me of when the Flyers had like Lindros and McTavish and all them guys. That if you're able to kind of control that part of the game the way they have been, and continue to keep doing that with how they've been playing and all that, it's gonna mean for a run.
Oh, they're definitely.
They're in the middle of a nice stretch here, but it's going to come to an end at some point.
Yeah.
But parts of it stay no matter what. Mm-hmm. That's part of it. I think the trade deadline kind of improved even more so in that area.
Oh yeah, because it helps your fourth and fifth or third and fourth lines. Absolutely.
The best thing about it, and I know the guys on Hockey Happy Hour touched on it Thursday night. You're getting scoring from all four lines.
Yeah. And when Jason Martinez was on, he said the same thing.
Yep. You're getting center. You set up your center position to move guys like Lawton and Giroux, who are great centers in their own right, but sometimes fit better on the wings with even better centers.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Giroux with Couturier. Giroux on the wing with Couturier at center is lights out. And we see it over and over again. It's just where Giroux sometimes struggles is when he has to center his own line with not great pieces around him. Mm-hmm. But when he's on the wing with Couturier, like you saw it last night, he had 2 goals and I think he had 2 posts.
Yeah.
He had 2 goals and hit 2 posts. He could, he's flying around recently. Couturier is one of the best players in the world right now.
Yeah.
And he was.
He's one of the best 2 players in the league, right? 2-way players in the league.
And then the prospects of getting Nolan Patrick back is out of control.
It's like a phenomenal off-season addition, but you're heading right into the playoffs with Nolan Patrick, which that just, oh my God.
And it's even more beautiful now that we're above Pittsburgh right now.
Yeah,
it makes it even more sweeter.
Yeah,
and just seeing how this team put together, and me and him talked about it. Some of these young pieces, if you're able to get a run this year and see just however it goes, second round cup bid, however it may be, but you have to see how it all plays out.
Well,
You never know. When hockey playoffs comes, funny things happen. The puck bounces weird ways sometimes, and we've all been on seeing how it works with the Flyers a lot of times and haven't worked our ways, but just something about this season, just everything seems to kind of.
It's something like I know what you mean, but getting to another point too, like what did a lot of us say when the Flyers were bad? But like the Flyers might not be good. But look at that farm system.
Yep.
And their farm system is
Starting
still
to develop, man. This is what
we talked about for years.
And let's give credit to where credit's due in Hexie.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
And I said it last week.
No, and I'm not saying you're not, but
right.
Fletcher's come in and done great for this year and this team, and even going forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not selling Frost to go get whoever, right? Because that guy wasn't out there, right?
Right.
But not selling the farm to get something for now.
Mm-hmm.
When you gave Farabee a run this year, you just hit a wall. It happens.
Yeah.
But now Farabee's going to go down, play on the top line in Lehigh Valley, get that scoring touch back, not have to worry too much about defense.
Yeah.
So that when he comes back up in a couple weeks, he'll have that scoring touch again. Frost had a cup of tea. He now knows what to expect.
Yeah.
But Hexie, as annoying as it was at times from not letting these kids play,
He knew how to draft. And
he at least drafted
guys.
well, developed well, and you see
But it was like
that.
one of the points that I was making, like I guess Flyers fans tend to forget like how Hexie came into it. It was like him and Terry Murray just sitting there developing the entire system.
Yep.
And it's like we
down.
love to kill him to death over some of the stuff.
I'm an athlete, I call it.
As some of the inadequacies that he obviously had when it came to the GM part of the pro side of it when you're talking about re-signing, free agency, etc. But what he did is he set them up for the next 10 years, and no matter what happens, this team is a contender. It has a cup future going down Broad Street with before the 20s are over. No, without a doubt in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely. And where was this team always lacking, prospect-wise, right? On the blue line.
Yeah.
And where are they arguably the strongest right now?
The blue line.
On the blue line. Now, you're going to get some growing pains with some of these young kids, but you're also starting to see some of the things Philip Myers does at 21 years old right now. It's just like, you're like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
And then with some of the guys that are already there, like you already have Provorov there, you have guys that are going to make it just like I said. And I was sitting there saying to him, like, people may think it's crazy, but I think, if you don't do it, some of these name guys that have been in the staple for this team maybe are pieces to go get yourself the one that gets you over.
Yeah, but that's not here. That's not obviously.
No, I'm
now.
not saying now. I'm talking about like after the season's over and moving forward and stuff like that.
You could see it. You could see a guy like Ghost going somewhere, but I think
he's probably gonna be one of them on top of one of your bigger names.
Yeah, I just
one
don't.
Of our
I just,
gingers, they're gonna go.
Yeah, I don't see that being as. What are you getting back that's going to be better?
I've already made the proposal. So
what's that?
Connor McDavid, man. He's the
You're
guy.
not getting Connor McDavid.
Give up. I already said it, man. Do it.
You're not giving it. You're not. They're not giving it up.
I'm talking about. All right, listen.
Edmonton. It's a moot point because Edmonton's not picking up the phone. I talk about GM always answering the phone. Hey, what about Cat? Nope. Hang up. Hey, I got to get nope. Hang up. It's not happening. I love a good pipe dream. I love a good scenario, but
I know it's not going to happen.
It's got to be realistic, and I just don't see anything realistic to get over the hump.
They'll win a cup, but they'll still be the third favorite team in the city.
That's fine. And they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
I mean, your Flyers, Flyers Twitter is going to care. Flyers Twitter is going to, they're already caring because, oh my God, God forbid people watch a good team.
Yeah.
But, Flyers Twitter is going to be pissed off, but who cares?
Yeah, right.
They're the next team that's got to win.
Yeah.
You think over the Sixers? Over the Eagles?
Well, I just think they're closest. Eagles just won.
Yeah.
Eagles just won.
Over the three that we have here right now. The Flyers will win again before the Eagles.
Well, the Phillies won in 2008, so most people alive watching sports right now were there, have seen two.
Yeah.
I was born in 81, so I just missed the Sixers.
So did I.
So I haven't seen the Sixers or Flyers. And, yeah, I would prefer to see the Sixers because I would – watching live, I'm a freaking degenerate, so I watch everything equally. basketball's more me, but I also have ties into the NHL and into hockey, so hockey's always been there. So right now I want the Flyers because the Sixers are a pile of doo-doo.
Yeah.
But if it was 6-1, half dozen another, I'll take the Sixers first, but the Flyers got to be right there behind them.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, like, what are you thinking? Like, can they get over the other stars in the league to get there before the Sixers will?
Yeah, because hockey's that one sport where there's no parity.
Yeah.
You got a hot goalie in the playoffs.
good
Look at Dominic Hasek, God damn it.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like in the
For
NBA, the top team's gonna win
years. Yeah.
in a series, right? In the NBA, top team's gonna win.
Right.
In the NHL, you see so many more upsets and you see so many more opportunities to where if you're playing right at the right time and your goalie's standing on his head 4 out of 7 games, you can upset someone big.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't see why. And of all the sports, just getting into the dance more applies to hockey almost than anything else. Baseball's another one.
Yeah.
Because baseball comes down to pitching in October. And if you have the right staff, as the Washington Nationals showed us, if you have the right pitching staff, buzzers or no buzzers, you can beat anybody.
Right.
Right? Hockey's the same way with a goalie. You have a hot goalie going in.
Failed miserably at that. Didn't we?
Miserably, yeah.
Because we couldn't set a lineup. We couldn't hire a manager. We couldn't cheat properly.
Yeah. I don't know.
But even when we had the arms, we didn't come home with the World Series. We
That's
got it before. We won it before.
That's the
arms.
ironic thing, right?
Yeah.
That's the ironic
Exactly.
thing. We won it with one dude and a bunch of guys. But that one dude was a dude that year. I mean, he was the best pitcher in baseball, obviously, right there.
Yeah.
In that series.
Yeah,
in that
absolutely.
Not
postseason.
just that series. That
whole postseason.
It just that frame. Like he's never gotten that back.
No, because it's so what Madison Bumgarner has done with his career, going so deep into playoffs, pitching so much into playoffs, is absolutely amazing because you see what guys like
Flame out.
what Cole Hamels. Now Cole Hamels got back a little bit of Cole Hamels. So what Bumgarner is able to do year in and year out, pitching that much is pretty remarkable.
Well, I still think what Steven Strasburg last year was amazing too, considering where the depths that he went to.
Well, he just nutted up. He just finally was like, I'm just going to nut up here and get over the fact that my organization was a bunch of pansies my rookie year. They would have won it had they let Strasburg pitch in that postseason.
Oh yeah.
But they were pansies and said, nah, we're going to protect our arm. And finally, he finally came through with that protection.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into the most exciting part. Reviewing the fights from last Saturday.
Oh man. I mean, we said it. I said I like Tyson in the fight. I thought that his footwork, his head movement would reveal something last Saturday night that no one's been able to do. And listen, man, not only did he get in his face, but he just rattled him in a way that like, it was kind of remnants of how a lot of people felt about Tyson going to that Buster Douglas fight, and it was different to the fact that everyone knew who Tyson was, but it was just like you haven't seen it yet, so it wasn't like something like you were prepared for, and then he just totally didn't. He never showed up. He never showed up.
No, he didn't. Well, it was also because of apparently he was tired from the uniform that he wear, that 45-pound uniform that he wear. Tired him out a little bit.
Problem is, you told Joe Rogan almost a year ago that you train with 45-pound weights on a daily basis.
Yeah. But again,
God, you gotta love the internet. It just reminds us of these beautiful things.
Yeah. I unfortunately didn't watch the fight. I was down in Orlando with my family, so I didn't watch the fight. But through watching enough of the highlights and the clips and whatever everyone puts on, our wonderful internet, you were able to see. You kind of saw this coming if you've watched Wilder's other fights. He was just outside of Fury 1. He's always done this to where he'll wait for that one shot, and then what he was always good at was finally finding it at some point.
Yeah.
But there was a fight he had 2-3 fights ago. I want to say it was after the Brazil fight, before Tyson and Fury won, where he went like 9-10 rounds with a guy that he should have knocked out in 4 rounds, and then he finally caught him with the punch and finally knocked him out. And it was just like, dude, you have to figure out how to box at some point. You have to figure out how to jab, how to set it up instead of just sitting there with it cocked the whole time, waiting for it to go. Because you get top fighters like Fury, or you get a top guy like, I'm not a big Joshua guy, but you get top guys like Joshua who somewhat know how to box. They're gonna let this just sit there.
Yeah.
Because at some point they know it's not gonna hit them if they keep hitting you.
Right.
And another thing, like another thing he did, he did the proper thing was like when he was cutting them off and he was getting in his face, bust out your eardrum, it's over.
Well, your whole equilibrium's off, yeah.
But not just that, it does something like it's never the same, man.
Yeah.
So like we're gonna be talking about a rematch here with him soon, but I don't know, man.
It's gonna be the same thing all over again.
I wouldn't want an immediate rematch.
I wouldn't either.
I would want to at least one or two more guys before, let Tyson fight Joshua or whatever, and and then come back to it in about a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because you can argue and say Fury's up 2-0, right?
Yeah.
So why would Fury do it again? In theory. Oh, there's no question there's money, but he didn't even use the money. He gave it away.
Yeah.
So what does he care? It was funny. I was talking to a coworker of mine. She there that time, and they met his kids at the pool, and I'm like, "Where were you?" She goes, "Orlando," and I'm like, "What time of the year?" And it was right around the bout he did with Braun Strowman in WWE, and I'm like, makes total sense why he was in Orlando.
That's funny.
But I think what that did is that made him more of an athlete.
Oh yeah,
Tyson Fury. That training for doing that WWE run.
He came in heavier for this fight, just like a lot of people were talking about this, and then Wilder. Listen, man, if I'm Wilder, I'm more worried about the PR nightmare you set up for yourself right now. Because listen, this flip flopping back and forth and all that stuff nonsense. Listen, the fight world is vicious, and it'll eat you up in about 2.5 seconds. And as much as it's about theatrics with boxing and all that. Listen, you're right. He's got one thing. That hand.
Yep.
And if you don't start putting the rest of that together, you're going to eventually come to people in the sport who will expose that. Look what happened to Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
Listen, she is an amazing athlete on so many levels, but her boxing was so far behind that she just couldn't catch up with the rest of them when the rest of these well-rounded athletes get to you.
Yeah.
The well-rounded athlete will find you eventually. We'll find a way to get it done. Matchups make fight styles, make fights. It happens all the time. Deontay Wilder needs to add some more tools to that tool belt for whatever form that takes. He needs to do that.
Yeah.
And he needs to do that before he goes and fights for that title.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's even more prevalent in MMA than it is in boxing because the gloves are smaller. But you're right. You get somebody who is one-dimensional, one punch, one kick.
Right.
Can turn the lights out naturally, right? Or as we've seen multiple times. Boxing, it's not as prevalent because of the heavier glove.
It's not as easily exposed, I would say.
But that's the right word. It's not easily exposed because the gloves cushion a little bit of it. But still, you get one at the right spot at the right time.
Oh yeah.
Night.
See, I always have a problem when everyone thinking the boxing gloves cushion it because you're getting more impact. What it is like the thing with boxing is like it's glancing things when you get caught with them 4 ounces, man. It's just something different.
Yeah. Oh, there's no question.
And then we're getting even into more crazier times because bare knuckle boxing is a freaking thing now. And you're people say it's a niche sport or whatever. You're starting to it's crazy. And it's one of the things you got to love about it because there's just so many things there's just so many different meals when it comes to it. You have boxing, you have MMA, you have kickboxing, Muay Thai, etc. So there's just so many different things going on there.
Yeah.
It also you have lines with it. It's like groups that you have, not just like WWE, but like wrestling in general.
Oh yeah.
They have their own thing.
Right.
Boxing in general,
That's
they
their
have
own thing. Yeah.
But it's all under the kind of the same flag. It's It's one of the weirdest things that comes to it when it all boils down to it. But boxing's always going to be there. You're always going to have that. You always have those big fights will always bring out the craziest things.
Yeah.
You know, Michael J. Fox was there.
Mm-hmm.
Michael J. Fox will come out for anything just because of the medical stuff that's going on with him. You get people to come out.
Right.
For boxing that you may not very well come out for some of the UFC fights.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. It just hasn't had the long, sustained success that boxing has for hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting to that point. And now, this week, this past year, we just had Felder and Hooker, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's obviously gonna expand and grow with their ESPN relationship.
Yeah.
Because now you're bringing a whole other world of people that weren't normally watching at UFC.
Yeah, but then they're having a lot more problems with that right now just because of the fact that you're having guys like Stephen A. Smith talk.
No, there's no question.
And what a lot of times what Fox or ESPN they have Max Kellerman who does boxing and I'm not really great on a lot of his takes or anything like that, but he's someone I would have rather have standing next to somebody like that. Fox Sports 1, when we have to sit there and listen to freaking Shannon Smith and freaking Skip talk about combat sports, I cringe.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
you need it. Listen, when
combat
when
sports Twitter is
you,
just as bad as Flyers Twitter when you get somebody outside of the niche trying to talk about it. You know what I mean?
Twitter is ruthless and crazy, and
sometimes you just got to just listen. It is what it is in 2020.
Right.
All these major markets want a piece of it. And it's going to happen. You're going to get people that have no reason to talk about it.
I'm not necessarily one of these ones that like I get it. You have to have the face of your brand to kind of also bring it to the masses, but you also need your guy that be like, hey, like you need to have the guy next to him to putting him in what like this is how it has to be.
But Stephen A. Smith is Stephen A. Smith because he's Stephen A. Smith,
right?
Not because he's a puppet, and that's why ESPN still holds on to him. Same thing with Skip and Shannon. They're there because of who they are, not because of they have someone in their ear telling them what to say, being a puppet. So you're not going to change that just because you're in a niche sport. You know what I mean?
I'm just sitting there saying, like, as you're presenting the product to the masses, in the aspect of MMA, they need to have someone else with them.
Yeah, who knows what they're talking about.
Like,
I know
you know what I mean? Like what fans got upset about Steven, have someone to sit there and be like if it's Joe Rogan, then so be it. Let it be Joe Rogan to be like, hey, like this is like for him to sit there and say that Cowboy Cerrone quit.
Yeah.
He just like they fixed the fight, etc. Like that's what the fans went with. But the context of what he was saying, he's right. It's a bad look. Mm-hmm. Not to sit there and say you're completely uneducated about what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. There's this fine line when it comes to some of these sports, man. Mm-hmm. That's all.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And yeah, sometimes it makes the individual look stupid. Sometimes it makes the network look stupid. But ESPN just got into it. You know what I mean? Like
they've been into it for almost a year now.
Right. So that's just getting into it. So they're still trying to find their people of who they have covered. And I don't know, and I'm trying to look it up, but
go back.
Max Kellerman might not
to do college football broadcasting. Mm-hmm. So he's somebody like maybe someone you now.
I met him that same night. I met Deontay Wilder a couple years back.
Oh, okay.
Down at the Bernard Hopkins fight in Atlantic City.
Okay.
Yeah.
I met him prior to Chris Cyborg and Marlos Kunin's title fight in Invicta when he was doing it with when they had like King Mo and them and stuff like that. He's like, listen, like you need those type of guys when you're doing this stuff. They need to find whoever that is.
Well, yeah, I mean, but the broadcast they have those guys. It's the pre and post or it's the lead up and they're never going to have enough of those guys to go around because they're probably not paying a whole bunch of money for those type of guys. Mm-hmm. I want to hit two quick comments here from Bill on Facebook.
What's up, Bill?
They're back related to the Eagles, though.
Okay.
He said, from what I heard, and how the organization seem to be content on going most of their pieces from free agency, so now I'm lost on their plans for the draft. And we obviously know that free agency turns out to be very, very well because those pieces always turn out to be perfect pieces, and they're not old, and we don't get screwed on those contracts at all anytime, right?
Right.
And then he said he has a bold prediction. Bold prediction time. There is not one or two, but three New York Jets heading to Philly. So I said, who are they in your bold prediction? He says, I have no idea. He went to a party in the city last night with a few
Oh my God.
with a few camp buddies. Just haven't looked them up. It looks like
please.
Jenkins and Poole for me. See how old they are in positions. So he doesn't know. And the third he could it could be Robbie Anderson. Do they even have a Jenkins on the Jets roster?
Wasn't it a lineman?
Let's see here. So I just wanted to touch on them. You can get back to the.
I'm not 100%.
Lineman, like older lineman, isn't it?
I'm not 100%. Yeah, Greg's looking, but
listen. We'll get back to that one in a minute, but so we can get back to quickly touching on some of the UFC stuff there.
Yeah,
that's rough for the local boy Paul.
Jenkins is a linebacker.
Okay.
Right. I was off with that. I said a lineman.
You weren't far off.
Yeah, you weren't too far off.
It's rough going into another guy's backyard, literally outstriking him, but I guess wearing them more damage, and fought the smart fight this time. We didn't see the red dragon, so to speak. Paul just being angry, walking guys down. But I kind of felt a couple of those times where he had Dan reeling, where if he just turned it up a quick notch, he might have gotten him out of there.
Yeah.
Brian Poole was the other guy, cornerback.
Brian Poole, okay.
So Brian Poole, Jordan Jenkins, cornerback, linebacker, 2 need positions. And then, of course, his third would be Robbie Anderson.
Okay.
So that's Billy's bold prediction. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
I see a 1 for 3 there.
1 for 3.
I see a 1 for 3 there.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I'm not saying mine have been any good lately either, so I have much to say there in that aspect.
Well, that's that's the thing that we love about the NFL offseason, right? There's a bunch of these predictions, and especially with the draft and everything like that, and post combine, you have all these predictions. Obviously, free agency's coming up in a couple weeks, so.
Yeah, I mean,
you're just gonna have a bunch of theories flying all over the place.
I just feel bad for that offensive tackle from Iowa. He just got himself a freaking one-way ticket to Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland sucks.
Yeah.
Instead, people are like, "Oh, we'll make Brett Brown walk home from Cleveland after that loss," and I'm like, "No, just leave him in Cleveland."
Yeah, right.
That's more the punishment is just being in Cleveland. I mean, hell, LeBron left 7 times.
Yeah. That's what I would do.
Oh man.
Was that Felder's last fight?
He said it listen, I literally
because he's very good on the commentary.
But here's the thing that people also don't know about him. He has a degree from the University of Arts. That guy should be in acting. And
that's why he's so good on the mic.
Yeah.
Listen, he has so many other things. He's 35, man. I seen it on his face as soon as they gave the decision, and when the way his body language and everything. If you spent more than 5 minutes alone, that Brian or Duke could go and say to Paul at this point in time, I mean, that fight just literally sent him back a year and a half. He was almost at that point the first time he fought Barbosa when he lost the split in Jersey.
Yeah.
Right? Then he got it back and got the split right this time and got the Hooker fight. And he probably should have won that one too. And another time when these decisions came down, and it really winds up costing these fighters not just position, money, but it's just so much time that he can't get back now. Listen, he's at his peak where his skill set plus his knowledge and everything like that. If he walks away, it sucks because we lose not just an entertaining guy, a guy who's put Philly. I think a little bit more on the map as far as MMA goes. Eddie was the guy.
Yeah.
And then we have the next generation that's coming up. He's fighting tonight, Sean Brady.
Right.
And Brady's going to be an absolute animal. He will be the welterweight champion for the UFC before his run is over. I guarantee it.
Okay.
Mark my words. And Paul's just at a spot, man. He doesn't have to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
it sucks because I really want to see how he would do against the Connors of the world and stuff like that. And see, that's the thing. Paul's he's not Eddie. He's not where he's a little bit more rounded in the striking department. where Conor might hit him with something, but he's not gonna go down.
Yeah.
Paul's gonna be there.
Yeah.
It's like kind of the Diaz thing.
Mm-hmm.
He has that Diaz in him where that fight would have been interesting. The only thing is Conor's longer, and you see that didn't matter with the Hooker fight. I told you that wasn't going to play a difference in that fight.
Mm-hmm.
It just sucks. Like, I mean, if he walks away, thanks for the freaking, the festivities with the blood and
Everything,
the smiles and listen, the guy has so much more to offer the sport besides fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I hope we get, doesn't go out like that. Not on a loss like that. That, maybe you go back and you see if you can run it back. And, there's talks of they're going back to Dublin again. I know he wants to fight in Dublin. As even as much as fighting in your backyard, I think Dublin is something that would keep Paul around.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a fight. Yeah, I just think it's a memory, a feeling. Being able to kind of do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything Dana, his coaches, anything could say. It's really
It's more him than it's going to be.
What does he have to prove? Like he can't. Because of losing this fight, he's never going to get the what everyone likes to say, the red panty night now.
Yeah.
Everyone likes to say that one. Yeah, so I guess that's the one we'll go with. He's not going to get that.
No.
He's not going to get the title fight. So what else do you have to entice him?
What else do you have to, Well, like what more
Why
do
would you want to
prove?
spend time away from, your daughter, your loved ones,
your family,
your friends and family? I know he hates going out to Milwaukee. It's just, and it's not because he doesn't like being there and his teammates and all that. It's because it's just being around from who he loves and who he loves to be around.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the commentating makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
Because you're there for 4 or 5 days and then you're back.
Mm-hmm.
You're in whatever city from Thursday to Sunday, prepping and doing everything they need to do, and then you're back.
Yeah. Makes it that much easier.
And for the most part, he knows all the stuff that he's already going through. He's just going through a few notes and having to re-up on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's part of it's the easy part of it. Like I said, I hope regardless of 1, maybe 2 more fights, who knows what happens if he hangs him up. More power to him that way.
But it's like you said, a loss there just drops him back out of any type of meaningful fight.
Right.
If he needs money, he can go fight. Right. But you're right. He's not now pushing the top 5 to where you're gonna push for a title shot.
I would have liked to see him in Conor or Dustin Poirier. Those matchups were fun. I wanted to see them because not just to see. Paul has this not just fighting style, but this skill set that pushes those guys to a way where just those are fight of the year candidates. Mm-hmm. Regardless of where we're talking belts or whatever, I want to see him in 5-round fights with Conor, with Dustin Poirier, with even Tony Ferguson, which I think his grappling is a little too much because of how he goes about things. Mm-hmm. But it's some of these things that you want to see, man, and it's it sucks that the judges in Australia robbed us of that basically.
Yeah.
Listen, Hooker's gonna he's 27, 28.
Judges in combat sports rob a lot of people.
Well, here's I've said this when I used to do my podcast all the time, and you want to know something? We as fans complain about this all the time, and you want to know something? Go to your freaking athletic commission and go file out a thing to go be a referee, judge, or whatever, and get these. Andrea Lee lost a fight to Lauren Murphy a few weeks ago, right? Because the freaking judge was on his freaking phone while the freaking fight was going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's.
This is what I'm talking about.
It's crazy because you have boxing judges doing MMA, you have MMA guys doing boxing.
You want to know how bad
they're the same, but they're way different.
Yeah.
You want to know how bad it is? Tito Ortiz had a fight.
I know exactly where you're going.
You know where I'm going with this. He had a fight against Alberto Del Rio, right? Mm-hmm. It was overturned over the week for some unknown reason, pending investigation, then re-unturned going back over. I'm like, is this real life?
Yeah.
This is what I mean, where this sport is still a baby. Mm-hmm. A baby. Yes, it's, we're 20, 30, we're still getting to the point where technically it's only 10 years old.
Yeah.
the first 25 years they were fighting for existence.
Yeah.
We're now fighting to kind of build it to the point where boxing is. It's not quite there yet. You have a lot of problems with the unified rules, with judging, with refereeing. There's a lot of gray area with it.
Yeah.
We complain about boxing. It's just as bad, if not worse, than MMA. And what makes it worse than MMA is because they don't get taken care of quite as well as what boxing does. But then you hear both sides complaining about that. Listen, at the end of the day, they are putting their bodies on the line for our entertainment.
Right.
So whatever you can do to help these guys out.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're getting taken care of pretty well.
Money-wise,
you know.
yeah.
So
Financially.
the high-end guys are.
The top 2%.
Yeah, no, I understand. I get it. You know,
And
the high-end guys are. The boxing guys are. You know, but, you know, yeah, I mean, yeah, they sit there and, you know, fall on their shield for us, but they're doing it too because that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
It's all for the glory. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's actually about the competition.
Yeah, for some guys, yeah. Some guys prefer the competition. Yeah, you're right.
But at the end of the day,
It is what it is. No, I hear you.
they know what they sign up for in some sense, but at the same time, it still ain't right.
No, again, like you said, it's still a baby, and it's things that they have to work on.
It's something
so.
that we're still going to have to talk about, debate, and even like the sport itself, it kind of denies a lot of the aspects of it, but going to have to get to a point with it where it's going to come to a head.
Yeah.
And it's still bad. I mean, dude, like Dana White goes to Trump's thing, and now people are like, "We're not going to support the UFC because he's a." I'm like, "Are you freaking serious?"
They've been business friends for years.
People do not
Donald
realize
Trump's the
that
only
Trump
reason the
actually
UFC
made
still
sure
here.
the
Right.
UFC stayed alive.
He's the only reason the UFC's still here.
Yeah.
Actually, it's Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, that
yeah,
too. Yeah.
People forget about that.
But yeah, he was one of the biggest reasons.
Yeah, one of the
UFC
earlier days, like the New Jersey State Athletic Commission was giving them a lot of problems and not being able to put events on and stuff like that. And Donald Trump came, made sure Dana White was taken care of and made sure the events.
And they've
went
been
on.
they've been business friends and friends.
Yeah,
ever since.
not like loosely. They don't have like direct dealings, but like
No.
But I mean, it's getting to a point with a lot of the stuff where it's just funny to.
Oh yeah.
I know the sport still has a lot of drama issues with it, and I still feel what we deal with a lot of part of it. The media is one-sided. The sport kind of controls that aspect of, regardless we talk about or we're talking about any of the major sports, if we're talking, baseball, whatever. It's kind of the hardest thing, like to get legitimate coverage and to have complete transparency with the sport.
Yeah.
The closest one you see that with, it's the NBA.
Oh yeah.
It's probably one of the ones where, everything's kind of free and open and you know what it is. Or baseball, you have your dark areas. Football, you have your dark areas.
Yeah.
Combat sports has dark planets.
Yeah. Right. No, I know exactly what you mean.
It's ugly, man. It's one of the things that's scary about it. But boxing was there at some point in time.
Yeah.
They got through it.
Yeah.
Combat sports will too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean the deals that they've had, just in the Fox deals, the ESPN deals, it's almost guaranteeing that they're going to stick around.
Oh yeah, there's no.
You're right. I mean, some of the
but
outside quality, but the inside quality is always going to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things I don't.
That's
think,
why they do those deals.
I still
stick around.
don't think that until some of that stuff gets situated, it'll really be where it is. If the UFC takes off the way it should have within the last 10 years, hockey we wouldn't be talking about golf, soccer, or anything else like that. It would be prevalent over that. But it hasn't, and that's why they had to do the deal with.
But
ESPN.
the guys talking golf and soccer are not watching UFC.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, but
So it's
most of you people
you can't compare them.
Yeah.
You can't compare them because golf and soccer and tennis are guys that aren't watching UFC, or at least
Not
aren't watching it to the point where they're going to be worried about what Stephen A. Smith is or isn't saying about the game or about the fight. They're just watching it because, oh, cool, it's on ESPN now. I wouldn't have watched this if it wasn't on ESPN.
Right.
Or, oh, wow, it's on Fox Sports, so now I can watch it.
Yeah.
those deals are important, but there's parts of the inner structure of it that has to change in order for it to get to the next level. It's plateaued. It's been in the same spot it's been in for the last 8 years.
Plateaued at $400 billion. It's a hell of a plateau.
And why was that? Was that because of the sale, or was it because of what they had already done?
I'm just saying, a hell of a plateau to be worth that much as an organization. You know, I wish I could be a part of something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, wherever it is, the sport's there. You know, it's not going anywhere
All right, but
because of these
but here's
deals
the
that
thing,
help
like,
it make
you
it more
look at
mainstream.
We talk about like it's the top 2%, but can you name anyone out of the top 5 stars in that sport?
What's the difference? I can name whoever you want me to name. I watch the sport.
I know you are. We do,
But
because
that's like asking a girl, "Oh, I'm a sports fan. Oh, well, name me this, this, and this." Why? Why does that matter? Why do I have to know each detail of the sport to be able to say, "Oh, I like the sport. I like watching it. I know a little bit more than the casual fan." But hey, maybe I don't know that Dominic Cruz trains here or Uriah Faber trains here.
I don't think you have
what's
to get
that
into
matter?
that part of it.
You have fans that are fans.
That you know that person.
Fans can be fans, however level. Yeah, you're obviously a lot more versed than anybody else, but you've also been around it longer than a lot of the mainstream fans that are now catching on from ESPN and Fox because that's what those deals are made for.
I don't have a problem with those fans, but the problem you run into with combat sports fans is they only tune in when that one's on.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
I understand. I get you.
And that's a lot of the problems that companies have supporting that sport is because if that person goes away, then that money's all completely gone. That's what I mean by
Well, and again, that's why these deals with these mainstream networks push more of these guys on TV to where that target is a lot bigger. You know what I mean? That target is a lot wider now because all these guys, all these other guys, these low-level guys,
what they have to do to develop,
and that's why they sell the pay-per-views for the big ones, and they give away the free fights for the guys that are low coming or don't really mean much.
Yeah,
you know, to me, the UFC Fight Pass is the worst thing possible because then you charged an over amount, and then you still made them charge
for the pay-per-view.
And then you made it charge for extra. Yeah. It's not like the WWE network where you charge $10 a month and you don't have to pay a damn dime extra.
Well,
by the way, he got that from Vince.
I know he did, but he did it wrong.
Yeah.
No, he did it right. That's how he knew what he was doing. He was like, okay, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to double up on it.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about this real quick, and then we'll wrap up. Well, you heard Vince is talking to ESPN, right, about doing away with the network and moving all the WWE content to ESPN Plus.
Yeah. I mean, if I still don't have to pay, so it's $7.99 for ESPN, right? ESPN Plus. I won't pay it because then everything else is extra.
Right.
You know what I mean? If the WWE network stays the same on ESPN Plus, where you play a flat rate and the pay-per-views are included, I'll
do it in a second, yeah.
But if not, then I'll just go back to watching it bootleg like I do everything else. Yeah. Or I'll get my buddy, or I'll go over Chrome's house and watch it with Chrome because I know he'll pay for it.
Right. What he's talking about is the streaming culture that the UFC developed over the years because of them freaking playing this game where it's here, there, here. Like, this is what I'm talking about where the sport has plateaued because they're still keeping the status quo of how they run things and thinking these fans are going to continue to do it. Fans are going to continue to find these streaming sites because you're robbing them elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, and that's also why the sale happens because, the Fertittas and Dana can only take it for so long. And then they're like, all right, well, we want to get out. Plus, hey, maybe we see like we're kind of stagnant. Let's get somebody else in here and see if their, upper level, C-level, $4 billion ideas work any better than ours do. And then you get ESPN, you get Fox, you get all these.
The only thing that really brought me was the fact that you have about 400 owners of the UFC now, and probably one of the greatest moments ever was watching freaking Leslie Smith show that she has more balls than half the guys in the UFC. That thing that she did with Kobe, that was freaking amazing. But those things is like, it's changing the way how things are done. You don't know what's going to happen with it. Since the Fertittas are gone and something like that. It's almost like it's just kind of still stayed the same. Like, you have all the stuff where you have the UFC, institute where, you have all the stuff where the fighters go. They have a yearly thing where they have bring all the fighters and then they do all this stuff and stuff like that. But like, as far as doing anything to betterment for the athletes themselves. They haven't done it.
Yeah.
As a company, yeah, they're doing what they need to do to make money.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, like, they have these – when they're done, their contracts are up. That's it. They don't have anything else.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Like, the NFL, these players have something.
Yeah.
Well, it's because they don't have a union.
Yeah, that's true too.
Well, that's because of the way the way the UFC has gotten everything worded, and this is something that I still believe that until they fix this part of it, you're gonna have these things that are holding you back. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you think it's still making you money, you're able to keep things the way they are. It's hurting them, whether they want to admit it or not.
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah, you're definitely not wrong.
It's what I thought the deal with Reebok was when you made everything so vanilla and you stopped letting these guys come out with sponsors.
I still think it's the worst thing they've ever done. Not just that, just like they also took the personality of the fighters away from them. The stuff with the walkouts and stuff. Like, remember what James Tahuna used to do? What we talk about with boxing.
Yeah.
What we talk about, we were just talking about the entrances. Mm-hmm. That doesn't happen in MMA anymore.
No.
They literally pretty much took that away from them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you can't listen to. You have to pre-approve the music that comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to do listen.
But again, it's because you're on these network televisions.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it.
But then you have an. Do you not remember they had an event coordinator that they just let go?
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying, like, when you make these concessions to go on streaming and with these network televisions, yeah, some of these concessions are going to be, hey, we do have to approve your music. You know, boxing has it because they're on pay-per-view or HBO where you don't have to worry about anything. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You don't see that when they do the PBC on Fox. You don't see these big, elaborate, entrances. And if they do, they're not shown on TV.
Yeah.
They get back and, hey, we're in the ring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what happens when you try and expand the sport to the mainstream is, yeah, you're going to have some of these concessions that you have to give away in order to make it work on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think we basically hit everything on the head as far as all our stuff goes. You have anything else before we wrap up?
Nah, man, let's just another fun show.
Yeah,
let's
right.
get back to it next week. Hopefully, we can start getting some of these other things going on that we've been talking about. Other than that, another interesting week in sports and combat sports and life.
But that's it for us guys on the weekly roundup. I'm your host Jake, Steve Reichel, Greg Malakovic. Thanks for coming in, Greg. Appreciate it.
No problem. I'm here.
We are also brought to you by Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC. Our doc, Make 'em Yours, Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton locations. We are also brought to you by Ambuck Services. Need your gutters cleaned, need some deck worked on a little bit, call our guys at Ambuck Services. As for the weekly roundup, I'm Jake Friel, Steve Reichel, Greg Malakovic. We'll see you guys on another episode of the weekly roundup. Later, guys.
Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.